we're going to be talking about honeycomb brazy. Now, this honeycomb brazy situation has been going on for several months. Ever since he got the tragic news about his grandparents passing, and that made national news, it's been an ongoing story with honeycomb brazy, man. He's been locked up. He's been in various situations with other shootings, allegedly. And it seems like it didn't stop until he was arrested this last time. Now, the last time that honeycomb brazy got arrested, we did a whole video about that and talked about the case at the time. Well, it looks like his case just took a turn for the worse. It looks like honeycomb brazy might be facing some really serious time because he was on probation when he was charged with these recent charges. You know what I mean? So honeycomb brazy is going before the judge, or he went before the judge, and it was a long, drawn-out hearing. I think they said it took like 2.5 hours for some type of deliberation or some type of talks, but we're going to get to the specifics and all that. Before we do, though, do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And, man, let's get it. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about this honeycomb brazy and these news reports that basically detail the whole situation that he's in, man. Honeycomb brazy has got himself in a pinch, and it's looking like he's going to be seeing a lot of time. Now, the DA is pushing for a lot of time, meaning like 13 plus years for honeycomb brazy. And once you hear this story, you're going to be like, man, it puts you in between the situation, because you're going to see his side of things, like why he would get caught with a firearm. But then you'll see that the gift that he was given with his 15-year sentence. But, man, let's just get to the story, man. Now, the report that I'm be referencing is from the Fox News 10 News down there in Mobile, Alabama. And basically, the headline sums it up pretty good. It says, judge orders honeycomb brazy to prison for probation violation. Now, it continues by saying, Mobile, Alabama. A Mobile County judge revoked the probation of Mobile rapper honeycomb brazy. The rapper, whose real name is Nashawn Jones, was on probation for a conviction on a charge of being a felon in possession of a firearm. Stop right there. Now, when you take into account all the things that he's been through, like with his grandparents, the situation with the shootings, man, I even did a story where they have been shooting up his mom's house, a house that she doesn't occupy for obvious reasons, even though honeycomb brazy is in jail. It's like everybody in that area knows he's in jail, man. So it's wild to even think that people are still, got that much hate or that much contempt for honeycomb brazy, but it's a wild situation. So him getting caught with a firearm, it kind of makes sense, man. But then you're kind of upset at him as a fan, because you're like, you're not supposed to be around a firearm. You got to find another way. You know what I mean? That's just a responsible way of looking at it. Now, the story continues by saying he only served 18 months of a 15-year sentence. But now the DA's office said he'll have to serve the rest of the time. So that's roughly 13 years, man. So that's 13 and a half years exactly that honeycomb brazy is looking at in this situation. Now, the story continues by saying prosecutors asked the judge to send him back to prison for violating the terms of that probation. Prosecutors presented 15 video clips showing Jones with guns or drugs. So that already lets you know that honeycomb brazy wasn't being careful in his situation either. I understand the need to maybe protect yourself, but to have guns and drugs on camera when you know you're on probation, man, it's hard to shoot you some bail on that one, honeycomb brazy, man. Come on, man. But the story continues. It says, the defense argued that those were stage props for music videos. Okay. Even if true, the judge wrote in his order that does not explain a shootout that the defendant was present for in Montgomery. His associate traded gunfire with unknown assailants. Jones later posted on an account of the incident on social media. Now, stuff like this makes me wonder, where are rappers, managers and stuff half the time, man? Now, you know that he's on probation, and there's some personal accountability here too, Doc, because honeycomb brazy knows he's on probation as well. But why would you go to social media and basically advertise the fact that there was a shootout, man, knowing that can compromise your situation? But social media is a drug, man. People are addicted to it. That's for real. Now, the story continues by saying prosecutors also accused Jones of failing to check in with his probation officer. The defendant implied that he ignored an order to report to a probation officer because he feared his life was in danger following the killing of his grandparents Tony and Layla Lewis. Now, for those of you who don't remember or don't know about that story, man, look, you can look it up or anywhere. You can check this story out. Or you can even look at my old videos about Honeycomb Brazy's grandparents' house being burned down, man. It's one of the most savage things I've heard in hip hop in a long time, or probably ever, man. It was wild, man. A wild story. Now, it seems like from both of these paragraphs that his legal defense team is trying, man. They say that the guns and the drugs were prop guns and drugs that they have the videos for. Maybe, especially if he was shooting a music video at the same time, you know what I mean? And they're saying that he had good reason not to go to a probation officer's office because of what happened to his grandparents. And he knows, there's been plenty of stories of people, getting set up on the way to the probation officer. You know what I mean? That's a common thing, just even in regular street stuff that you see on the news. You know what I mean? So they're trying. They're trying. Now, the story concludes by saying this. It says, defense attorney Jeff Dean told Fox 10 News, I wish the judge had denied the state's motion to revoke Nashawn's probation. His creativity influences and inspires others in his social circle. However, I can understand the judge's opinion. He conducted a 2.5-hour hearing and then took 3 weeks to review the evidence presented, which included a plethora of videos. Even if the guns, dope, and alcohol weren't real in the videos, I could see why the judge could conclude that Honeycomb's depiction of drugs, guns, alcohol, and misogyny would not be conduct becoming of a probationer. We plan on appealing the judge's decision. In the meantime, I believe that this experience will drive Nashawn toward providing a more positive and mature message for many of his fans. So that was basically his defense attorney talking about the fact that he thinks, he didn't want to go against the judge, obviously, but he's definitely going to file an appeal. And he'll use this as an opportunity, meaning him being Honeycomb Brazy, as an opportunity to focus on changing his message in his music. Now, Honeycomb Brazy, his music is mostly comprised of a lot of street lyrics, a lot of street references, a lot of street imagery. Now, it's obvious that the judge took into account all of those things, man. He took 3 weeks and 2.5 hours of hearing people. So he basically wanted to be, solid on his decision on what to do with Honeycomb Brazy, because I'm sure this is a complicated case, because anybody on the outside looking in would shoot him a little bit of bail about him wanting to, protect himself. We'll say that, man, because it's real for Honeycomb Brazy, obviously. I don't know his situation completely. I know I cover it a lot, but I don't know him personally or anything like that. I just know from the outside looking in, it just doesn't look good, and this made things even worse. Now, with that, hold up. What do you guys think, man? Do you think that Honeycomb Brazy is getting a raw deal here because, of the imagery that they use from his music videos and the pictures that he put on social media? Or do you feel that social media is continuing to be the downfall of many, many rappers? It's like a tool to help their career, but it also could be used as a tool to take them down. Now, with that, this has been your boy Big Man. Do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And make sure you hit that notification bell so that way you get a notification every time I drop this hot content. And we out of here. Peace.